Hi, everybody. I'm Sarah, your Christian forgiveness coach, and you're watching Forgive Everyone for Everything Every Day Right Away. And today I want to talk about the emotion of fear. Like, what is it? Where does it come from? And if you've been listening so far, especially to the episodes about emotion, you know fear is a feeling, it's an emotion, and that emotions are created by our thoughts. So the Google definition of fear is an unpleasant emotion caused by the belief that someone or something is dangerous and likely to cause pain or a threat. So now my brain is thinking like, wait a minute, I thought I was scared because of something that I heard, something that, a fact that I learned about. I thought I was scared because of COVID or because of the election or because of a recent diagnosis that I got. But the truth is, the fear is coming from whatever you're thinking about that thing, not the outside circumstance in the world. Viruses don't make us scared. It's just our thoughts about them. And if you don't believe me, think about someone who lives like on an island in the middle of nowhere who's never had a virus, never heard about a virus. You ask them, hey, are you afraid of viruses? And they're like, no, what is that? And so it's not until like we fill our brains with information, form our own individual thoughts and opinions about them that we produce a feeling like fear. So now, I'm not saying that fear is bad, like that you shouldn't be afraid of a virus. That's up to you. I just want you to realize that it's coming from your brain. So usually the fear is based on like our default thinking, our past experiences, maybe influence of others. Like, have you ever watched the news? Before you watched the news, you weren't afraid of anything, and then you watched the news, and then you started to feel that fear. So if you're feeling fear about something, about anything, have you just accepted it, that it's scary and maybe should be feared? Or have you actually asked yourself, why do I feel this fear? And more importantly, do I want to keep feeling this fear? Why or why not? So the fear is valid, okay? It's real. Fear has kept us alive as a species, and it continues to keep us alive. But I want you to really think about what you feel that fear is about. Is the fear that you may be experiencing actually keeping you alive? Does your life depend on it? And in some cases, it might. But in some cases, that fear is only pretending to keep you safe, when in fact, it's crippling us. It's keeping us stuck. It's preventing us from moving forward. It's even preventing us from living our lives. So remember, negative emotions do not produce positive actions. So I really want you to evaluate how you're feeling before you take an action. So I'll give you some personal examples. So sometimes I'm afraid of doing new things. And so I'm getting ready to quit my day job and, go all in as a life coach. And of course, I'm scared. I'm scared I'll fail. I'm scared I won't be good at it. I'm scared I won't even like it once I start doing it. I'm scared nobody will want to work with me. I'm scared of looking stupid for trying. And then I'm also scared that I will let all of that fear prevent me from trying at all. And I'm scared I'll miss out. I'm scared I won't be able to help people. So here's what I've learned to do with all those thoughts that are producing the fear is to take a good hard look at each one of them, one by one. So let's take, I will fail. Feels pretty true sometimes. And if I believe that and I let the fear that that thought produces drive my actions are, might as well just quit now. So what am I doing? failing ahead of time. I'm failing ahead of time before I even start. So instead, I can acknowledge the thought, go, okay, yeah, maybe tweak it a little, say maybe, yeah, I might fail. Actually, I probably will fail at some things because I'm in a learning process. I'm doing something new. Failure is part of the game, but I'm going to do it anyway. And yes, I'm a little scared, but I'm going to do it anyway. And then you know what happens when I do that? The fear becomes less. Even with just that little tweak in my thought, even with me being aware and recognizing I don't have to buy into that, or that if I do fail, it's okay. I'm going to do it anyway. Bring it on. I'm not scared of the fear. Fear is just an emotion, right? Remember, it's just a vibration in our body. It can't hurt me. It's just an uncomfortable vibration I'm feeling in my body, and I can handle it. And if I look at it that way and I move into that fear instead of trying to run away from it or adding fear on top of fear, if I'm willing to be a little scared of trying things, new things, and then do them anyway because I've learned, the worst thing that can happen to me is a feeling. And I've learned I can handle feelings. I can allow feelings, take a deep breath, decide what I'm going to do next instead of letting that feeling control me and run my life. I can acknowledge that feeling. It's just coming from a thought in my brain. I'm going to fail. And I can decide if I want to keep thinking that. So instead, if I'm going to fail, I might decide, well, I might fail and that's okay. I'm willing to learn from my mistakes. I'm willing to fail to keep moving forward, to keep trying new things, and to keep growing. So, another example I have would be like my marriage. If I want to discuss something important with my husband and I'm scared to do it, then I wait. I wait. I really ask myself first, like, wait a minute, why am I scared? My feelings are valid. So why am I scared? Is it something I'm making up? That story versus fact, mind drama in my head. I'll evaluate, do I need to forgive him for something before I approach him with what I want to talk about? Do I need to ask for forgiveness for something before I go to him and talk about what I talk about? Do I need to go to God about something? And I do that work before I approach him. And I also prepare myself for some possible reactions or outcomes during said conversations so that I'm more prepared to respond in a way I would like to do. We've talked about emotional adulthood. We've talked about, like, in my episode about family gatherings, about how preparing for those things that might happen and how we want to decide ahead of time how we want to respond in those moments. So when I first learned about forgiveness work, I was blown away. The same way that I was blown away by this thought work and this mind management stuff that I've been learning. And then when I tried to put it into practice, I remember the fear that started to creep in. What if this doesn't work? I'd feel fear. I would try it and it wouldn't seem to work. And so first I thought, well, this doesn't work, or I'm terrible at this. Well, there must be something wrong with me. I can't do this. I'm a terrible person who can't forgive. And worse, I'm a Christian who doesn't forgive. I must not be a Christian. Those were horrible thoughts that went through my brain. And I'm just not meant to be in a relationship. And so for a while, I gave up. I let those thoughts drive that fear and produce that fear in me. And then I let that fear control my life. And I became afraid because of those fails. So I just quit trying. So I did that fail ahead of time thing. So even with the tools that I'd been given, I didn't realize that I needed to practice, that it was going to take hard work, that it wasn't going to be easy just because I logically understood it, that was going to have to get up every single day and work on it. But I've also learned through the process that it's so worth it. I've had to learn to be willing to fail and fail and fail and fail and move into some fear and keep failing. And then, bam, I would find what worked for me. But then, even fail some more and grow and fail again and find more ways that worked, grow some more, etc., etc. So, whether you're working on your forgiveness practice or you have fear about something else, anything else, are you willing to keep trying? Are you willing to keep moving forward? Are you willing to evaluate that fear? Is this fear of something that's going to kill me? Or is it fear that I'm creating in my mind just because I'm scared of moving forward? So can you be willing to fail again and again? It's okay if you want to quit. Totally normal. That's just our brain trying to keep us alive. It thinks we have to stay away from all kinds of fear. And remember, we talked about that thinking part of our brain? We have to use that part of our brain to make that distinction, to have love and compassion for ourselves during the experience, be willing to fail, be willing to feel terrible, and be a little bit afraid and do it anyway. And I promise you that you'll be glad you did. Even if we don't achieve the thing we're trying to achieve, we definitely will have learned something from the process. So fear is important. It can and does keep us alive, but that part of our brain that tells us that we're scared, it doesn't recognize whether or not that fear is actually valid. We have to use that thinking part of our brain, that beautifully human part of our brain that God gave us to manage that toddler running around with a knife back there, remember? So if you're feeling scared right now, just try this. Try this practice and see how that goes. All right, until next time, done with love. Bye.